The Philippines' proposed arbitration on the South China Sea has made waves in the azure waters on the southernmost tip of China's territory. China has solemnly reiterated that it will neither accept nor participate in this arbitration. From a legal perspective, it is a farce directed by the Philippines. As per modern international law, the acquisition of sovereignty over territory follows many principles, largely involving the following four elements. The country is the earliest to discover the territory, the earliest to name it, the earliest to explore it, and has exercised continuous administrative jurisdiction over it. As early as 2,000 years ago, the Chinese people already began fishing activities while exploring navigation routes in the South China Sea. This is why the South China Sea has its name. In the Tang Dynasty, the South China Sea went under the jurisdiction of China's Chongzhou Prefecture and continued under the supervision of each dynasty that followed. During the World War II, Japan illegally occupied the reefs in the South China Sea, but after war ended, China reclaimed its sovereignty over these territories based on the Cairo Declaration and the Boston Declaration. This is to say that China's sovereignty in the South China Sea is based on fact and legal principles. By contrast, the Philippines failed to present any historical evidence to support its claim of sovereignty over the South China Sea or to show that its claims are superior to China's. The Philippines territory is marked off by three documents, namely the Treaty of Paris, the Treaty of Washington, and the Convention between the United States and Great Britain. These treaties stipulated that the Philippines territory shall not exceed the 118 meridian east to the west, and it obviously does not cover the reefs in the South China Sea. The above-mentioned range was reconfirmed in 1935 by the Constitution of the Philippines. But later, the Philippines illegally encroached upon 8 Chinese reefs in the South China Sea, which severely violated the UN Charter and international law, and severely violated China's territory and maritime interests. The Philippines' occupation is illegal and invalid. In the South China Sea issue, China maintains peaceful dialogue and negotiation to settle disputes. In 2002, China and the ASEAN countries, including the Philippines, signed the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the South China Sea. However, on January 22, 2013, the Philippines breached this agreement for the peaceful settlement of disputes through bilateral negotiations and its commitment to the declaration when it applied for a compulsory arbitration on the China-Philippines disputes regarding the maritime jurisdiction of the South China Sea. The Philippines claimed it has complied with the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or the UN Clause. The Philippines' claims in the arbitration can be summarized as follows. First, China's historical rights in the South China Sea do not comply with the UN Clause. Second, China's claims on at least a 200 nautical mile range, which is based on several reefs, low tide elevations, and underwater features, do not comply with the UN Clause. Third, China illegally violated the Philippines' employment and exercise of its rights provided by the UN Clause. The Philippines' claims in the arbitration mostly focused on a number of reefs' sovereignty and the maritime delimitation between China and the Philippines. However, the UN Clause does not apply to sovereignty disputes. In 2006, China made an announcement that it would exclude any possible disputes involving maritime delimitations from its acceptable scope of compulsory arbitration procedures. Therefore, the International Tribunal does not have the jurisdiction over the Philippines' arbitration claims, nor does it have the right to rule. But the tribunal turned a blind eye to this fact, insisted on accepting the Philippines' claims, and forced arbitration proceedings, which amounts to arbitrarily expanding its rights. China's refusal to accept or participate in the Philippines-initiated arbitration embodies China's principle to act according to law and its attention to preserve the authority and the seriousness of international maritime laws. Verdicts made by a tribunal that distorts laws do not carry any legal effect. It will not change the historical fact that China claims sovereignty over the reefs in the South China Sea, along with the waters surrounding them, nor affect China's maritime interests in the South China Sea. An old Chinese saying applies well to the situation. Righteousness will prevail and the truth will be learned. China's stance has won the understanding and support of more and more countries, which reflects the country's societal respect and acknowledgement of international law. We believe that even more countries will show their understanding and support for China.